On April 15, 2019, the world watched in horror as Notre-Dame Cathedral burned. The roof collapsed. The spire fell through the vaulted ceiling. 850 years of history going up in flames on live television. But beneath the ash and the rubble, something was waiting to be found. Something that had been hidden in the stone walls since the day they were built. And what restorers discovered would force historians to rewrite everything they thought they knew about the Middle Ages. When restoration teams entered the structure and began clearing the rubble, they found something nobody expected: iron staples, long metal clamps, driven directly into the 12th century masonry. These were not 19th century repairs. They were not later additions. When the metal samples were sent for analysis, the dating results came back with a staggering answer. The iron staples were from the exact year construction began: 163, the 12th century. According to established history, the systematic use of iron in large-scale stone construction did not begin in Western Europe until the late Middle Ages and only became widespread during industrialization. The iron staples in Notre Dame predate that timeline by at least 300 years, and they didn't just survive 850 years inside stone walls. They survived a fire that reached 800 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt the lead roof. The iron endured. This was not a few scattered nails. The staples were found everywhere, in arches, in column capitals, in the joints between stone blocks, at every point of maximum structural load. The 12th century builders had designed an integrated iron skeleton hidden inside the stone that worked as a single reinforcing system. They knew how to forge the metal. They knew how to calculate loads. They knew where to place each staple to distribute stress across the entire building. This was engineering, not guesswork. The 12th century builders needed three kinds of knowledge to pull this off. Metallurgy. They forged wrought iron at a quality that structural engineers compare to 19th century standards. Load engineering. They calculated and distributed stress across a structure that rises 69 meters above the ground. And materials science. Their iron reinforcements survived temperatures that completely destroyed the modern lead roof. These were not primitive builders. They were working at a level we didn't think existed for another 300 years. Following the publication of the staple analysis, research groups across Europe began examining other Gothic cathedrals for similar metal connectors. Early results are staggering. Chartres, Reims, Amiens all show evidence of the same iron reinforcement network. This was never just one cathedral's secret. It was an entire engineering tradition, developed, applied across the largest construction projects in medieval Europe, and then somehow disappeared from the historical record without leaving a single written trace. Why did this knowledge disappear? The technique was never written down. It existed only in practice, passed from master to apprentice, generation to generation, until the line was broken. The knowledge remained in the stone, in the iron, in the proportions of the vaults and the precise placement of every staple. 850 years, and a catastrophic fire were required to expose it. The builders of Notre Dame left no manuals behind, but they left their buildings, and those buildings are still standing. A mountain no one is allowed to climb, a book no one has ever read, and now a cathedral that burned on live television, and in burning revealed that the so-called Dark Ages were never dark. The builders knew. The stones remember, and it took a fire to make us look, follow for more forgotten weird history.